Happy day to all of you. It's Rick Trummer from Rick Trummer Consulting and Training, and welcome to the sixth video that we're going to be doing kind of on retouching / color. Yesterday, we kind of explored the idea of different ways of experiencing black and white. Today, we're going to be getting into some color bleeds for each other, and I'm going to kind of show you the next series. Although we're kind of on the end of the retouching series, this happens a lot, especially in the retouching, that the color just isn't perfect when you're doing a specific shirt that they're wearing, or the color of the dress in the wedding, or whatever. You're going to have this problem because it's an electronic signal as opposed of even film, which was very, very good at getting color perfect. But in the world of digital, what happens is with the colors is once that it turns into an electronic signal, of course it gets into your computer screen. Then there's all this stuff with color balance that comes into play and a bunch of other things. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be making adjustments for that. What I did here is I brought in a portrait of Lisa, and Lisa has kind of a yellowish shirt on. And so what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the color of that shirt, and I'm going to show you how to isolate that color tone, and then being able to go in and make the color adjustment based on what you want. In further videos, when we get into next week, we're going to be talking about how to specifically get a specific color shade and kind of doing some match color as well. So for today, what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in kind of to the color that we're looking for here. And I'm going to be moving into the hue and saturation area. Now, once I'm here, what I want to do is I want to move the slider off of the master color. What we're going to do is we're going to select a specific color shade. So in this case, we want to kind of select the yellows, but for the sake of the exercise, it doesn't really matter what we actually put the color on. It's all about centering it up once we get it in there. So for the sake of the exercise, let's just move into yellows. And you can notice right away that Photoshop comes up with a series of sliders down in the lower item here. Now what happens is the first slider kind of tells you what the scale is actually at. The second slider tells you where your image is at. So if I move the hue value of this, you'll notice that the bottom slider now is moving. So what was yellow is now orange based on this little indicator here. So what was yellow is now orange. As we move through this, you can see that now what was yellow is now kind of a fuchsia color. So top one is where we're at, bottom or what the scale is at, and the bottom one is where we're going. So we're going to move this back to 0. And once we're there, what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the yellow series. So to make this easy for yourself, just click on one end of this slider bar and push them together. Now you notice I pushed it right out of the yellow scale. I squeezed them together, and I pushed them right out of the yellow scale into the red scale. That's okay. If you take your eyedropper and just click on that yellow, you'll know that it centers itself right in the yellow area, and that's fine. Now what we want to do is we want to be able to tell what we've actually selected. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our saturation down from 0, and we're going to take this to -100. So you'll notice right away that all of a sudden you're starting to see some gray points here. What we did was we took the yellow area that we selected and we took the saturation down to -100, so it just turns into a gray point. This will give us a visual of what we've actually selected in the color scale. Now once we do that, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding to the selection. And you'll notice as we do this, this area here will get wider and wider. We told Photoshop to select yellow, so it gave us a nice scale. And then we have those outer bars, which I call the feather bars. What they did is they feathered through the entire yellow kind of area. So anything that had a little bit of yellow in it, it actually highlighted that in the feather bar. What we're going to do is hold down your shift key, or you can hit the plus eyedropper. and we're going to select on other yellow areas in the image. So you'll notice that I'm kind of going through and selecting this. And as we go through, you'll notice that this area is getting wider and wider in here. There's one more right there at the edge. And it looks like I've gotten all of the yellow area. Now, you're going to back up on the image, and you're going to notice there's a bunch of other areas that had a little bit of yellow in it as well. We're not worried about those right now. We're only worried about the shirt color. We're going to be able to take those other areas out once we're done with the selection. So now, once you have the selection made, I want you to take your feather bars, which are the outer edges. Just want you to pull them out just a little bit. That'll make sure that all of the edges of that area were also selected at the time you did that. Now, once we've done that, you can put your saturation back to 0 where it was. And now we can change the color of that specific blouse that she has on. So let's say the color was more accurate like this. We've now changed that so that it looks accurate to what it is. We've taken away the electronic version of this. Now, we've got other areas that it switched off as well. So the mask over here is for us to be able to get into that and wipe out those areas that we don't need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the brush tool. I'm going to put black in my foreground, move my opacity at 100%, bring my brush up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe out those areas that I don't want changed. So the shirt is where I want to see the change done. And so I'm wiping out all of the other areas in the image that I don't want changed. Just to make sure, I'm just going to go over all of the areas in the shot, just to make sure that I'm only dealing with that. So I'm using the mask to my advantage here. See from the selection over there, you can see that it's pretty exactly. Now I don't need to be really that close to the actual selection itself because it really didn't have anything in this area around the dress that was going to be, or around the blouse that was going to be too close to that color. So as I turn this on and off, you can see now I'm just working on the shirt below, although I've got a little bit of section right over here. So I'm just going to brush that up as well. I always go back and forth on the mask just to make sure that I've just got the selected. So I've got the blouse just selected at this point, and now I can put it into whatever color I want without affecting the color of any of the other area. So that's a quick way to be able to isolate color tone inside of a portrait to retouch that color and make it look right. Next week, we're going to be getting in some of the other values that we're going to be able to get in and get an exact duplicate of certain color spaces. And so we're going to show you how to do that next week, along with a bunch of other really cool finishing up retouching techniques. I'm hoping that you're enjoying this series on retouching / color, and of course the black and white. Again, I'm Rick Trummer from Rick Trummer Consulting and Training. I hope you enjoy this video and come back for more. Thanks for tuning in.